Hello and welcome to Capital Ideas TV. I'm Mark Bunting. One of the most exciting technological trends is the shift to clean, renewable energy sources. And the key to getting the most out of them is efficient batteries that can store that power for the long haul. Today, the very best are made with lithium and cobalt, but tomorrow it could be vanadium. The metal is showing real promise in energy storage, and that's driving major interest among investors. Vanadium is one of just a handful of metals that posted price gains over the past 12 months. It's been on an uptrend since the start of 2016 and briefly spiked to a record high in November of last year. While it's settled down since then, it remains at a level seen only a couple of times over the past 4 decades. The vanadium story doesn't start and end with batteries. The metal is also found in steel rebar, aircraft, and electric vehicles, all of which have encouraging growth outlooks. That means miners with access to vanadium could be poised to go along for quite a ride. Enter Delrey Metals and its bounty of assets. The company owns 4 vanadium-rich properties along the coast of British Columbia. They're called Star, Porcher, Blackie, and Peniche. Each of them is easily accessible, have utility infrastructure nearby, and can be worked year-round. They've also got convenient access to West Coast ports and a slew of overseas buyers. Delrey Metals is currently getting the lay of the land on its newly acquired properties by sizing up the prospecting potential. Here's founder, president, and CEO Morgan Good on the roadmap ahead for the company and its plan to tap into the lucrative vanadium market. So Morgan, what are the major uses for vanadium, and why is it thought that we're in the midst of a multi-year trend here in terms of demand and the price going up?
The major uses for vanadium are, in particular, the strengthening of steel rebar, as well as the burgeoning vanadium redox battery sector. Those are the 2 main drivers behind the vanadium price in recent years and in future years.
So these vanadium redox batteries, VRBs, they're thought to be superior to lithium ion, which is a type of battery that more people know about. So why are they superior, and what's the runway for growth for that area?
Sure. So vanadium redox batteries, or VRBs, are superior as far as energy storage goes. The future of energy storage from powers such as wind and solar require something that is much larger in scale, and vanadium is the perfect metal to assist in that storage.
And naturally, you think that Delrey Metals is nicely positioned for this multi-year trend. So give us an overview of your 4 properties in BC and your flagship project in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Sure. We recently acquired 4 projects in British Columbia, the Blackie, Porcher, Star, and Peniche, all on the coastline of BC. They're earlier stage projects. We've also just closed on a definitive acquisition of an option on the Four Corners project in Newfoundland, all of which have great historical work. Recent work that we did geophysically in British Columbia has already pointed us towards some great drill targets, and the work that we're about to commence back east on an undervalued asset we feel is really going to launch the value of Delray over the next year or 2.
And that recent work you're talking about, is that the AIRBORNE surveying? Can you give us a sense of the results there and what the next steps are?
Yes, that is the recent AIRBORNE geophysical surveys. We did fly 3 of the 4 projects. The Peniche is the only one we didn't. There was some historical work on the ground that we knew some good vanadium numbers were there. These geophysics have confirmed that, and in particular, certain areas require drilling as soon as possible.
Now, it's thought that the vanadium is sometimes difficult to produce. So what kind of costs are we looking at here in terms of your projects? And can you give us a sense of how the company's financed and backed?
Well, we IPO'd about 6 months ago and built our repertoire of assets with $1.5 million on the IPO. We're well funded at the moment, and we'll look for more adequate funding as we explore these projects in the spring and summer of this year. As far as the production of certain vanadium out of these assets, it's a little early to talk about that, but we certainly have the best of breed technical people on our team to assist in answering those questions when we need to.
Most vanadium is mined in China and Russia and in South America as well. But what about the North American market, and how would you say Delrey Metals is positioned?
Well, in particular, South America boasts one of the largest producing assets in the world. Within North America, we've got certain competition in the state of Nevada. But what we love about, in particular, our Four Corners asset is it's in Canada, Newfoundland. Fantastic jurisdiction, Canadian dollars, and an infrastructure that's really second to none with what we believe are going to be little to no headaches in our future as we develop this asset.
All right, so investors would want to know a time frame to production, especially on the Newfoundland Labrador project. And also, are you the type of company that wants to build it out and look for a buyer, or do you want to go it alone?
The asset itself in Newfoundland has fantastic historic work. We believe there is a deposit there. It is non-compliant right now, so part of our job this year is to bring it onto compliancy, 43101, and after that we'll be able to judge what the future may look like. We're not going to be the producers of any vanadium. That's not our specialty. We'll certainly look for a major of some kind to hopefully come in and have enough interest to take us out. That would be a great exit for Delrry and its shareholders.
Now, investors who look at the mining sector, who are involved in the mining sector, they often look at these concept stories and they think, okay, should I get in now? Should I get in at all? So convince investors that the Delrey Metals is the kind of company that it's worth putting money into and you'll be rewarded down the road.
Well, currently we're only a $6 million market cap, so I think it speaks for itself that there's great upside potential. Obviously we've got our blue sky properties out west, but this property in Newfoundland, although it has historic work, we believe that the deposit itself that is there is merely 5 to 10 times the size it could be. So I think that before we get out there and actually develop the value, right now is a great entry point for investors. I think it's also important to mention we've got a great cap structure and a great financial backing. Myself and our other executives all have a great track record of financing and marketing stories, so investors won't have to worry about volume and liquidity. That's something that lets other investors come in and see our story and see our stock, so that's certainly one of the great attributes that we bring to the table.